Hello, Train Simulator guys. Welcome back to another episode of Train Simulator Classic. Today we're going to be looking at one of the items I picked up on sale for, Christmas, as many of us do. This is one that I had been looking at for a hot minute, but never pulled the trigger on, just because I was really hoping that it would drop down in price some more, but it didn't. This is the Alaskan Railroad DLC pack, and it's about 120 some odd miles total. I think 112 across the main line, plus another like 12 to 15 mile branch line route. And so we're not going to be going over the entire route. I'm sorry if that was what you were expecting, but this video would be very, very long if I attempted to sit here and go over the entire route front to back. But we are going to take a look at some aspects of it. We're going to take a look at some of the scenery around it. We'll hop into an editor and fly around a little bit, look at it. We'll look at the rolling stock included. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit disappointed in it. It's not on sale. This is a $40 route, and the DLC or the rolling stock in it makes it fall flat on its face. And there's a bunch of scenery oversights that shouldn't have been overlooked, I should say. And this route's been out since 2017, and it has never been updated. I know, surprise, surprise. DTG does not fix their stuff, but yeah, it still needs some remedies. But as we all know, as is pretty typical with anything DTG publishes in the Steam store, it never gets fixed. So right off the bat, we're looking at the GP38-2 that is included with the route, and it's the better of the two locomotives, and it's a bit of a stretch. One of the other disappointments, like I said, the rolling stock of this route really makes it fall flat on its face. It's not that the locomotives themselves are inaccurate to the route. It's how old the models themselves are, and how old the sounds are, and how old the rest of the rolling stock is. It's that stuff that we have seen for so long now that has not aged well. And it's not worth $40 with this stock, I'm sorry. So right off the bat, we got a GP38 here, and it's GP38. It's got the small gas tanks on it, diesel tanks, whatever, what have you. I'll hop in them in a minute and do the sounds. There's also an SD70 back there that we'll look at, but GP38 are pretty standard center cap caboose. It's been in the game for years and years and years now, albeit we've got double fireplaces added on, but other than that, nothing really special. An interior that's 10 years out of date. From afar, it doesn't look that bad, the skin on it, but you can blatantly see the difference in the numbering and the lettering. So you get up like right here, and you can see clearly the lettering is it starts to blur out. The numbers are crispy. So that's kind of a sad overstep. And it's not that blatantly obvious over here on the locomotives. And the locomotives really don't look that bad, honestly. They could stand to have some weathering done to them. my opinion, they look a little bit clean to be running around up in Alaska where snow, salt, and all that other fun stuff is gonna absolutely do its number on the metal. But you know, they still look pretty decent. The caboose, not so much. Matter of fact, actually, I'm pretty sure this is the Canadian National caboose that comes with the Yellowhead Pass. But and then the flat cars that we have seen in a dozen DLCs for years now. The flatbed, the flat cars that carry the truck trailers, TOFCs, something like that. Sorry, I'm not up on my modern railroading terminology, but yeah, these are old, and these show it. They look like a flat square or a flat rectangle that, yeah, blurry weathering, okay-ish lettering, blurry, and then stark numbers. ARR lettering, and then back to blurry. I don't know what's going on with the air hoses here, but yeah, there's kind of some tubes. Even the, you have to get at a distance here for this to look kind of halfway decent. It's ridiculous. A little grain hopper here. Again, nothing new. This has been around for. You can. This car has been around longer than the flat car. How do you know? Look at the couplers. As rolling stock was added into railworks over the years, they started to kind of add air hoses, but most of your original 2 railworks rolling stock for the US does not have air hoses, and yeah, to say this car is old would be an understatement. However, at least you can kind of read the numbers and the lettering over here that comes stock on the car, which you can't do with this. But yeah, old. These are lumber cars, flat cars with different log loads that you can add to them. These are slightly newer. I believe these are, yeah, these are definitely newer. Trying to remember, I don't remember which route these originally came with. Actually, I'm pretty sure they're freeware on Great Golden Age of Railroading. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty positive. Let me hop back over here. I added each and every single car that you'll get with this route right here in this little train right here. But yeah, you'll get 3 different log loads, and these are not toggleable. That's a word. These are not loadable and unloadable cars, which is what it is, I guess. But yeah, the log cars are some of the better looking cars out of the lot. Then we get our typical gondola that we've seen time and again and again and again and again and again. Nothing really special about it. Doesn't even have Alaskan Railroad lettering, so it is what it is. And then another standard hopper. Again, no Alaskan Railroading lettering or anything. There's nothing new about it. Already looked at. These flat cars you'll get with either, you'll get like this, set up for these ridiculously old box trailers, container trailers and such. TOFCs, I'm like pretty sure that's what you call them, but yeah. Or you get them in this configuration for flat containers. There are tunnels on the route, hence there's no double stacked containers. But yeah, these flat cars are pitiful looking. Boogity boogity boogity. And then we've got a center beam car, again one of the better looking cars of the lot. but nothing new by any stretch. It doesn't look half bad. Loaded, unloaded. I get some coal hoppers. Again, not new by any stretch whatsoever. These are old. These are really old. You'll get loaded, unloaded. No markings, just Alaskan Railroad. Really stark numbers and kind of blurry lettering. This tank car that we have seen for who knows how long now, that just needs to die. It's time to give up on this one. Obviously, all the lettering is blurry as can be. Stark numbers. And another boxcar. Again, one of the better looking. Not necessarily new, but definitely newer than a good bit of that. Yep, it's rolling stock. Like I said, in my opinion, it's a massive disappointment. And we hop over to our locomotive, our second locomotive. SD70s. The Max. Now they are cool. They are dynamically numbered and lettered. So it'll be Spirit of whatever. Spirit of Palmer over here. Spirit of Cartwell. Cantwell. Cartwell. But, so that's kind of cool. That does change. But other than that, these are the ridiculously old SD70s that have been in the game for a long time. The worst part about them, though, is the sounds. We'll dive into that in a little bit, but the sounds are older than the models. So, let's hop back to our GP38 real quick. The GPA38 model is a little bit newer, not drastically newer than the SD70s, but a slight bit newer. And as I said, it's definitely one of the better ones. Let's hop into the cab. Got our dynamic rain going on. Pretty typical EMD cab. Can't open the windows. Can't fiddle with the buttons. You can turn the engine on and off. Bell, sand, horn, brakes, dynamic, throttle, reverse, headlights, windscreen wipers. Yeah, this is beyond outdated. Way beyond outdated. Nope. There's no end loop whatsoever to the horn, so it sounds wrong, and the sound occlusion is kind of pitiful. The bell is unnaturally quiet. Pretty typical EMD bell though, so can't really hate on it. No movement from the little bell dinghy though. Let's run it. May as well open our HUD. Running these outdated models without the HUD is just kind of laughable. No wiper sounds. Headlights. Yeah. Headlights are interesting. Look at that. It's entertaining. That's so wrong. All lights come on at the same time, and all lights do some funkery. So we hop down here, and the light emitter is right here while the light's back here, and it shows starkly. And we come up here, and it does the same thing right here. Not too terrible on the little added headlight up here, but yeah, it's ridiculous. And they're of course neon white, bright LEDs. Just wrong. No control over the number boards. Yep. Nothing. The ambient noise is pitiful. I mean, it's something better than just complete nothingness, but it's, yeah, nothing stellar. We'll stop the locomotive and then go through all the notches the hard way. Or rather, the easy way, not the hard way. Oh, braking sounds. Alright. So let's put it neutral. Notch 1, no change whatsoever. Notch 2, some change. The smoke doesn't even change, which is entertaining. The exhaust, you know, wide open throttle, you'd be dumping some exhaust out, but not, the exhaust doesn't change at all. The sounds are not stellar. They're better on this than the SD70, but they're not great at all. So let's oogie boogie up to the SD70 here, and for some wonky reason, unlike every other video maker, my game does not let me just hop in between trains whenever I want. I get the option one time and that's it. So we gotta pull up here. Across the whole route, it's about 25 to 30 miles an hour. So if you're looking for a speedy, long-distance route, this ain't it. Now we hop over to the SD70s. Now, the exhaust kills me. So we saw the exhaust over here with the GP38s. It's pretty typical of Train Simulator. Our SD70s look like they're steam locomotives idling right now. So that is pitiful. Headlights. So the number board lights do come on with the headlights on the SD70s, but that's, yeah, not great. And then with number 2, ditch lights come on and then the main headlights dim down. And same issue where the light doohickeys are very much there. Same old bell. Not terrible, not the worst bell I've heard. Let me change up our tracks here so we don't commit some goobery. I couldn't believe that when I heard that at first. That is ridiculous. Oh, that is ridiculous. So that horn has been around since Railworks kicked off. That is an old Kuju air horn, and it sucks. I don't know what's going on with our number board lights here. They're kind of wonky. Yeah, that horn is garbage. No sound occlusion at all. No wiper noises at all. The same old SD70 cab where, you know, you can barely read any of the gauges. None of the gauges work. None of the doors open. None of the windows open. Headlights, horn, bell, sander, no lead sand, wipers, reverser, power, train brake, locomotive brake. Oh, just not even an alerter. I mean, I don't know, maybe Alaskan Railroad SD70s don't have alerters in them, but no alerter. Yeah. I'm sorry, but for $40, this is what you get. This is pitiful. This is ridiculous. It's got the new brakes, it's quote unquote realistic brakes, but they're not great either. The sounds are okay. There's your dynamic brakes. Oh, that is gross. Ugh. Stick it in neutral and it's alright. I get a kick out of the purple windows. purple hue going on with the windows there. Yeah, it's not stellar. Not great. Not... The engine sounds themselves are not horrible per se, but oh lord, are they out of date? But yeah, that'd be the rolling stock you get with this route. You want my personal opinion? Pick up the Victory Works USATC S160s. You'll have a lot more fun on this route with those Alaskan Railroad S160s. Really cool. Or there were some Bud RDCs floating around. Because the stock content for this route is... It was pitiful for 2017 when this route was released, but in 2020, well, I guess now 2023 is New Year's Day, but in 2023, nah, nope. This content is so out of date per today's standards that it's not even funny. On sale, I still have a lot of trouble even thinking about recommending this. Like I said, most of the routes 25-30 mile an hour. You're not going to be picking up and flying along. So it's much... Now it is scenic. I will give it that credit. It is very scenic. It's just... the rolling stock, like I said, it makes it fall flat on its face. For a $40 DLC, I expect a lot more with the locomotives and the rolling stock. It's pitiful. So let's hop into our editor here, and we can run around and take a look at much of the route, or not much of the route. We won't be taking a look at much of the route, but yeah, this is a tunnel and a half. It's a great big deep underground tunnel, which I mean makes sense. The real thing has it. Let me pop up out of here. Pretty much a straight line. And boink. And we'll take a peek. Take a peek at all. Oh well, we'll take a peek at the branch. You guys can kind of see the quality of the route. Tree models are dated. Another great big long tunnel. The water does some funkiness. We're going fast. Going real fast. Railroad branches off, goes off to the left that way, to the right that way. That's, it's far enough, honestly. You guys can get an idea on what the scenery looks like. it's not. I don't want to say it's bad, because it's not, but a lot of the objects and such are. A lot of this is Cajon Pass era. One of the very first American routes available for Train Simulator, and a lot of this is about that old. So it's, yeah. And like I said, my first impression right off the bat, I started off up here at Anchorage, and leaving Anchorage, the track is just floating up in the air for a good ways, and it's ridiculous. But Anchorage to oogie boogie on down to Seaward, call it what you will. So I believe that's 115 miles, and then also included is this little branch line right here. Runs up to Whittier, sure. Little Whittier branch, I believe, is another 15-ish miles. 12-15 miles. So you get one heck of a route. I'll give that, I give credit where it's due. This is one long route, but it reminds me very much of Donner's Pass. For those of you that were around when that released, where it released and it was the longest route they'd ever done, and it was just this huge landmark, and then we all hopped into it, and trackside scenery is a joke. And a lot of the stock and such for Donner's Pass was just pitiful. And it just turned out to be a pretty big disappointment for all the hype that they pushed out. And it's kind of how I feel with this. I'm not saying I hate it, because like I said, the route in itself is very scenic. It's a very nice looking route. It just, it doesn't, I don't know, it didn't doesn't work out very well in Train Simulator, I guess. At least this version. The rolling stock makes it fall flat on its face. A lot of blatantly obvious scenery details that shouldn't have been overlooked. I mean, come on. Anchorage is one of your main cities. Why is your track floating in the air leaving Anchorage? It's not just a random spot out here in the middle of nowhere. It's right there. So, yeah, 10 out of 10. Would not recommend at $40 freaking, but you do you. I imagine I'll get a pretty good bit of use out of it running around with the, like I said, the S160s. They fit with this route pretty well. Some proper rolling stock. There's a ton of Alaskan rolling stock available from places like Railworks America, so that helps to alleviate the problems with the poor rolling stock included with the route. It really does, because what's included is just pitiful. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm not gonna sit here and rat on it too much more, really, anymore. Like I said, on sale if you're looking for an Alaskan route. It's not horrible, but it could have been a lot better. I think it could have been done a lot better, and it really should have been done a lot better for what it is. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a great New Year's, and I will see you next time.